You're home alone. Your chest tightens. The clock becomes your heartbeat. After 60, every minute during a heart attack counts, yet most seniors never learn what to do in those first 10. I've worked with hundreds of patients who survived because they remembered 7 simple actions, each backed by medical research from Mount Sinai and the ASPREE trial. Today, I'll show you what really saves lives when help hasn't arrived yet, and why your body after 60 reacts differently than it used to. If you've ever wondered how you'd respond in that moment, this isn't fear, it's preparation. In my 25 years of clinical practice, I've seen panic turn into power when people know what to do. Aging changes everything. Cortisol rises, nitric oxide drops, and our heart's emergency brake, the vagus nerve, slows down. But research now shows that knowing the right sequence, breathing, position, aspirin, communication, can raise survival odds by nearly 20%. Let's walk through 7 life-saving steps that could keep you or someone you love alive. 1. Recognize the silent alarm. When a heart attack begins after 60, it rarely looks like what we see on television. There's no dramatic clutching of the chest or sudden collapse. More often, it starts quietly. A strange heaviness in the jaw, a wave of fatigue, a shortness of breath that feels out of place. In my 25 years of clinical practice, I've met countless seniors who almost ignored these early whispers. One of them, Robert, 68, thought his mild shoulder ache was from gardening. It was actually his heart's distress signal. Biologically, aging changes the way our body sends warning signs. Research from the Health ABC study, 2010, followed over 2,600 older adults and found that inflammatory cytokines like interleukin-6 and tumor necrosis factor alpha surge more intensely in seniors during cardiac stress. These molecules act like internal sirens, but when they rise too often with age, the alarm system becomes dulled. That's why many older adults experience what cardiologists call atypical symptoms. They're real, but quieter. Think of inflammation as the body's fire alarm that starts going off so often, you stop noticing the sound. Then, when the real fire comes, it's easy to dismiss. That's exactly how seniors miss the moment to act. What I tell my patients is simple. Any unusual upper body discomfort that lasts more than a few minutes deserves attention. That includes jaw tightness, nausea, dizziness, or sudden fatigue. For women over 60, these subtle clues are especially critical. Studies show that women report chest pain only about half as often as men, which leads to a 22% higher delay in getting help. Pause for a moment. Could you recognize those signs in yourself? Because the next minute after you notice them, what you do next can decide everything. 2. The first 60 seconds. Call and communicate. In those first 60 seconds, hesitation is the enemy. I've seen strong, capable men lose precious time, convincing themselves it's just indigestion. But after 60, every minute without oxygen-rich blood costs heart muscle. The American Heart Association calls this the golden hour. Yet for seniors, it's more like a golden 10 minutes. Here's the truth. Your body may not give you a second warning. The King County Cardiac Arrest Survival Analysis, 2025, which tracked more than 25,000 adults, showed that seniors who called emergency services immediately had survival rates that jumped from 14.7% to 18.9%. That might not sound huge, but in cardiac medicine, it's life-changing, especially when you're alone. The call itself matters. When you reach 911, say clearly, "I think I'm having a heart attack. I'm your age, alone, and need an ambulance at address." Then keep the line open. Let the dispatcher guide your breathing, your position, your calm. I remember Margaret, 72, who kept the operator on the line while she waited. The dispatcher noticed her voice fading and sent the paramedics to break in. They arrived in time because she stayed connected. If you live alone, keep your phone nearby at all times, by your bed, your favorite chair, or even in your pocket when cooking. It's not paranoia, it's preparedness. And here's something many don't realize. Seniors who maintain conversation with dispatchers often stay conscious longer. Talking helps regulate oxygen use, keeping brain activity steady while help is on the way. Quick reflection, could you make that call right now without searching for your phone or address? If not, set it up tonight. But what you do after you call may matter even more, because your body's position in the next minute determines how much oxygen your brain receives. 3. The power of positioning. Once you've called for help, your next move isn't to lie down, it's to sit up. It sounds simple, but I've seen this single step make the difference between consciousness and collapse. During my years at the Heart Wellness Clinic, I often told my patients, the way you position your body can either help your heart or make it fight uphill. Here's why. When you lie flat during a heart attack, gravity pulls blood away from the brain, reducing oxygen flow by about 15%. That drop is enough to cause dizziness or fainting, especially in adults over 60 whose blood vessels are already less flexible. A Mount Sinai Medical Center emergency protocol study, 2024, found that seniors who stayed upright and calm, feet flat, back supported, knees slightly bent, experienced 19 to 23% less heart damage when combined with emergency aspirin. Imagine your body as a car on a steep hill. Sitting upright is like pulling the parking brake. It stabilizes circulation, keeps blood moving where it's needed most, and relieves pressure on the heart's pumping chambers. The safest setup? A sturdy chair, close to the phone, in a well-lit area. If you feel faint, lean slightly forward, resting your arms on your thighs. Never recline fully. This upright angle helps your lungs expand and improves oxygen exchange, buying your heart precious minutes. I once worked with George, 74, who practiced this very technique. When his heart attack came unexpectedly one evening, he remembered the chair. Paramedics said his alertness helped them begin treatment instantly, and his recovery time was half the usual. So, take a quiet moment tonight. Choose that chair. Make it your safe spot. Because when the heart starts to fail, your body position becomes your first ally. But one more action can make all the difference, and it's already in your medicine cabinet. 4. Chew, don't swallow. The aspirin protocol. If your chest feels heavy and you've already called 911, the next 60 seconds can determine how much heart muscle survives. In my clinic, I've taught hundreds of seniors this one step, and it's saved lives. Chew, not swallow, your aspirin. Aspirin isn't magic, it's chemistry. It works by blocking platelet aggregation, the process that forms blood clots inside narrowed arteries. During a heart attack, a clot can completely stop oxygen flow to the heart. But when you chew one full-strength tablet, 325 milligrams, or 4 low-dose tablets, 81 milligrams each, the medicine begins working within minutes. Chewing increases absorption by about 40% compared to swallowing whole. The aspirin trial, 2018, which followed more than 19,000 older adults, showed that emergency aspirin use significantly reduced the severity of heart attacks when taken within the first 10 minutes. However, the same study also warned of higher bleeding risk with daily use, 8.6% compared to 6.8% for those not taking aspirin. That's why I always tell my patients, aspirin daily can be risky, but aspirin during an attack can save your life. Here's how to do it safely. Only take aspirin if you're not allergic and don't have active bleeding, stomach ulcers, or recent surgery. Call 911 before chewing it. Never delay that step. Sip a little water if needed, but keep chewing until it softens. Think of aspirin as your heart's emergency fire extinguisher. You hope you never need it, but when you do, you want it ready. Keep a small pack in your nightstand, car, or kitchen, and remember, medication is just half the story. The other half comes from a system deep inside your body. one that can slow heart strain naturally even before paramedics arrive. 5. Calm the storm. Activate your vagus nerve. When fear hits, the body floods with adrenaline, forcing the heart to work even harder. But inside each of us lies a quiet counterbalance, the vagus nerve, your body's built-in calming switch. After 60, this nerve weakens, like an old emergency brake that doesn't catch right away. Yet, with a simple breathing pattern, you can help it do its job again. In my 25 years of clinical work, I've seen seniors lower their heart rate and regain focus using a single rhythm, the 4-7-8 breath. It's simple. Inhale through your nose for 4 counts, hold for 7, exhale slowly through your mouth for 8. Repeat 3 or 4 times. Why it works? Your vagus nerve connects your brainstem to your heart, lungs, and digestive organs. Stimulating it through deep breathing triggers the rest and repair response, easing the heart's workload. The Vagus Nerve Cardioprotective Study, 2011, found that controlled breathing could reduce inflammatory cytokines like IL-6 by nearly 25% within 10 minutes. Think of it as flipping your body from panic to protection mode. I remember one of my patients, Alice, 70, who practiced this technique daily. When she felt chest pressure one afternoon, she called 911 and began her 4-7-8 breathing. By the time paramedics arrived, her heart rhythm had stabilized enough for safer transport. She told me later, "It felt like I was helping my heart help itself." You don't need equipment, just awareness. Each breath is a signal to your nervous system. I am safe. I am present. So practice this when you're calm, during morning coffee or before bed, so it becomes instinct when it matters. But even as your breath steadies your heart, there's one more step that keeps you safe until help arrives, and it starts with staying conscious. 6. Open access, stay conscious. Once you've called for help, chewed your aspirin, and steadied your breath, your focus shifts to staying alert and reachable. This stage often decides how quickly paramedics can begin treatment and how safely your heart weathers the next few minutes. In my clinic, I always remind patients, make yourself findable. That means unlocking your front door or gate if you can safely do so. Paramedics lose precious seconds breaking in, and during a heart attack, even a 1-minute delay can drop survival chances by 7 to 10%, according to community response data from Medscape Cardiac Arrest Analysis, 2025. Keep your phone line open. If you're on with the dispatcher, don't hang up. Continuous conversation helps the operator track your consciousness and breathing pattern. Seniors who stayed verbally engaged showed 58.5% 1-year survival, compared to less than half for those who lost contact mid-event. Talking keeps oxygen demand balanced and prevents the brain from slipping into fainting reflex. Think of it this way. Every word you speak is a pulse of life your brain recognizes. Staying conscious is like keeping the lights on while first responders race toward you. Have a short emergency card ready. Medications, allergies, key medical history, taped to your fridge or near your front door. Paramedics are trained to look there first. I once treated Harold, 75, who did just that. When his heart attack struck, the EMTs had his medication list in hand before they even reached his bedside. It shaved minutes off his treatment time and likely saved his life. Now, before we close, there's one last misunderstanding that has misled thousands of older adults, something many believe could save them, but research shows can quietly do harm. 7. Myth versus fact. The truth about cough CPR. If you've ever received one of those chain emails or seen the social media post claiming you can cough your way through a heart attack, please erase it from your mind. I've had patients tell me they plan to just cough hard if it ever happened. But this so-called cough CPR myth has been proven false again and again, and can be deadly when you're alone. The American Heart Association and a 2023 BMJ review both confirm that cough CPR only works under hospital conditions, with continuous heart monitoring and trained staff nearby. At home, the pressure changes from coughing, about 200 to 700 milliliters of blood pushed through the chest, are far too small to restart or sustain the heart. Most seniors simply can't generate enough force, and worse, trying it can actually increase oxygen demand, leading to faster loss of consciousness. In my 25 years of clinical experience, I've seen the confusion this myth creates. A retired teacher named Ellen once told me, "I thought coughing would keep me alive until help came." Thankfully, her neighbor called 911 before she tried. If she had wasted even 2 minutes, the outcome might have been very different. The truth is simple and evidence-based. When you think you're having a heart attack, don't cough. Call. Follow the proven steps we've covered. Recognize the signs, call immediately, sit upright, chew your aspirin, and use your breath to calm your body. Each of these steps is backed by real research, not rumor. Because what truly saves lives isn't force. It's calm, awareness, and sequence. Take a deep breath. You've just learned what most people only realize too late. But before we close, let's talk about how to prepare your body and your heart for recovery, starting in your kitchen. 8. Strengthening the heart after survival. Once you've weathered the storm, the focus shifts to rebuilding your heart's resilience. Nutrition becomes your quiet medicine, one meal at a time. In my 25 years of practice, I've seen seniors who recover strongest share one thing in common. They nourish the blood vessels that carry oxygen to every heartbeat. After 60, your body produces about 75% less nitric oxide, the molecule that keeps arteries flexible and open. Think of nitric oxide as your heart's natural traffic cop, keeping blood flowing smoothly. When levels drop, vessels stiffen like old garden hoses, forcing the heart to push harder. But research from Nature Reviews, 2023, shows that simple dietary changes can restore that flexibility. Start with color. Leafy greens like spinach and arugula and root vegetables like beets are rich in natural nitrates that your body converts into nitric oxide. I often tell my patients, 1 cup of greens a day keeps your arteries young. Pair those with magnesium-rich foods, almonds, pumpkin seeds, avocados, since magnesium relaxes the smooth muscles of your arteries, lowering blood pressure naturally. Omega-3s also play a quiet but powerful role. Wild salmon, sardines, and flaxseed help reduce the same inflammatory cytokines, IL-6 and TNF-alpha, that we discussed earlier. In my clinic, I always recommend 2 servings of omega-3 fish per week or a high-quality supplement after checking with your doctor. Think of every meal as part of your heart's rehabilitation. When you nourish the vessels, you're building the highways that deliver oxygen where it's needed most. And just as breathing steadies the moment, good food steadies recovery. You're not just healing, you're training your heart for its next decade. Because preparation doesn't end when the sirens stop. It continues with every forkful of life. Preparation isn't fear, it's self-respect. When I speak with my senior patients, I often remind them that knowing what to do during a heart attack isn't about expecting the worst. It's about honoring the life you've built. Every minute of readiness is a promise to your family that you intend to be here tomorrow. In my 25 years of practice, I've seen how small steps, keeping aspirin nearby, practicing calm breathing, setting the phone within reach, transform panic into power. These are quiet acts of independence. They say, I still choose how I respond. Take a moment to picture your own space. Do you know which chair you'd sit in? Where the aspirin is? Where your phone rests? These details, small as they seem, can keep the rhythm of your heart steady when it matters most. And when you share this knowledge, you extend that safety to others. Someone you love, your spouse, a friend, maybe even a grandchild, might remember these steps because you did. That's how we turn fear into legacy. If this video brought you peace or clarity, share your story in the comments. Your experience might help another senior feel less alone and more prepared. And if you'd like more practical, evidence-based ways to stay strong after 60, from heart support to memory health, subscribe to Healthy Aging Hub. It's where science meets compassion and where your journey toward vitality continues. Because readiness isn't just about surviving. It's about being present for the next sunrise, the next laugh, the next memory you haven't made yet. So take one slow breath, feel your heart steady, and remember, you're still here for tomorrow.